It is the first thing in the morning, which is why I look this lovely. We had a whole day of rain yesterday, and now it looks like we're gonna have a whole day of sunshine. I don't mind that. I'm actually happy for it because yesterday was a little rough. And as you can see, I am doing my FO video, my finished object video for the Umbrellas sweatshirt by Joji Locatelli. So as I mentioned in my last podcast, when I brought this up, I had just finished it, but I needed to fix the arms. As you can see, I had a bit of trouble with the yoke of this sweater because when she's telling you to make it, you come over and then from there you start making the front, but this is the actual front of the sweater, and that I think that likely was just me misunderstanding what she was saying. But I did find a couple of errors in some of the other patterns from that book that I looked at, so it might just be that there is an errata out there and I don't know what it is. But I used all Drops Alpaca Flora yarns, and I forget what colors they are, I'll have to find them, but they're just a fingering weight. This is a fingering weight sweater, and it's a fingering weight alpaca yarn, and it's beautiful, it's stunning, it really has like giant pops of color and I love it. I just keep like fondling my chest, it's so weird. And the motif goes all the way around. And it's lovely, I love it, but it's just annoying that the yoke does this, and that when I knit the armholes, which I should have known going in because I know I know that I have large arms. I have very powerful muscular arms. So I regularly in my shoulders and arm area will have some trouble with shirts or sweaters because I'm broad up here in a way that I guess most women are not. They're just a lot more narrow. But I always have trouble with the arms, and so I should have known. I should have tested it with one arm before I started making the other one. But I just was like, oh no, this will be fine. I was at the end anyways, I was so done. But it was a super quick knit, and it's got, aside from this, you come down and you do your color work, which I loved, and I actually thought it was pretty easy. I used that 2-finger float method where I had my second color on this is my left hand. On here it looks like the right, and then I had my main color on my right hand because I don't pick. So I was just carrying them both along and sort of picking up as I went. So this was pretty easy for me. And then it goes out, and then you separate for the sleeves. They're just short sleeves, so it's not a big deal. And then you have, which I really love, excuse my pajama pants that I'm still in, you have some waist shaping here. And I think that's great, and you can actually kind of see my increases. So you decrease down, and then you increase back up, and then you have this garter stitch border. I don't like shapeless, formless clothes. I don't wear them, pretty much. I like pretty form-fitting clothes. I guess that's unpopular, especially in sweaters where it's unpopular with women. A lot of women like to wear big, boxy clothes, but because of the way that I look, boxy clothes are not flattering. If anything, when I wear clothes that are boxy, I tend to look really unkempt. It's not like a cute, shruggy H&M, Instagram famous kind of look for me. It's definitely sort of you look like you're wearing your mother's clothes and you're kind of a bag lady look for me. I don't know if that's because of my body shape or body type, but I definitely have to wear a lot more form-fitting things. So when I found a sweater that did actually have a little bit of shaping in the waist, I got really excited. This was a super quick knit. I think I knit it up in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. And I was watching Altered Carbon and really, which is great by the way, I was watching really involved stuff and trying to keep track of everything. And the color work, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely had to think back a couple of times and fix color work issues because I knew that if I didn't, this is my problem, I always leave my issues in and then I come back later and I hate it. So I knew if I didn't fix it while it was happening, I just wouldn't, and my pattern would be like, you know, 2 or 3 stitches off, and I would hate it and never wear the sweater. So I didn't want to do that, so I definitely, when I would lose track of what I was doing, had to tink back a couple of times. I think the most I ever tinked back was like rows, like 2 or 3 rows. But it was worth it to get the actual like pattern correct and get the look that I wanted. And I think now that I understand like the issue I had here with the collar, I would absolutely make this again. I mentioned that most of the stuff I've talked about already in my podcast video, but I would make this again. I actually have some colors in mind that I think would be great for this sweater. Because of its alpaca content, the yarn, it's very warm. And so, it's a little scratchy for me. I'm very sensitive to a lot of wool things. I use a lot of superwash for that reason, but I'm pretty sure this is a non-superwash alpaca yarn. I don't know if you can superwash alpaca. I'm sure you can. I have no idea. It's very early in the morning for me. I'm very tired. Haven't had any coffee yet. But it is a little bit scratchy, so I do have a shirt on under it, which just makes it warmer. I wore it into the office and it was a huge hit and everyone thought it was really beautiful, but it's still summer and I don't think I'll wear it again until fall at the very least. But because of the short sleeves, I don't think I'll wear it in the winter. Texas winters aren't cold really by most standards, but it's cold in my office a lot of the time, year round. So this is definitely a sweatshirt, as I called it earlier, with sort of a short shelf life, unless I'm going to wear something else, like over it. But yeah, I think I could see myself wearing this like 1 or 2 months out of the year and then having to store it. But again, it's super easy. It was super easy, super quick, and I think especially because what really attracted me to this sweater was actually the body itself. I would absolutely just make a sweater that looked like this even without this color work. So the body of this sweater is extremely solid. I really enjoy it, especially with the waist shaping and the short sleeves and the like how it sort of flares and fits my body. So even without the color work, which is definitely the selling point, it's a good standard sweater. So if you didn't feel like doing this color work, this would be great. It's got very little, like tiny little raglan shaping increasing right here, and that's like it. That's the only sort of raglan shaping or increasing that you have to do. It's not like all the way up. I know a lot of people don't like the look or the feel or making raglan increases. It's just got a tiny bit of shaping right here, and that's the only raglan increasing you have to do. And it sits like right at my hips, as you saw a second ago. And that's perfect for me. Again, I don't look good in the slouchy, you know, Sunday afternoon brunch style sweaters. They just don't look good on me. They have to be a little form-fitting. And if it had continued on any more, because it's such a perfect like size for me, this sweater, if it had continued on any more, it would have hit my hips where I go back out. My body type is just like wavy hands, so because of its shaping, it comes in where I need it to, and then it just sort of stops, like where my hips are, exactly where my hips are. And if it had been any longer, it would have sort of like bowed a little bit. Honestly, it wouldn't have bowed, it would have scrunched. And so it would be like up here, and my rest of my body would be like down here. So it's the perfect shape. It's a solid, basic sweatshirt or sweater. And I really recommend it, honestly. Minus the issues I had here, which I still need to revisit the pattern. I haven't yet, but it might be me. But I'll post a link to the pattern below. And this, I was talking with some girl at my local yarn shop, and she was telling me that she has actually been eyeing this pattern book, and it's one of Joji Locatelli's like early patterns. She's like, yeah, she doesn't really make stuff like that anymore. And I was like, oh, I could see why. It's probably a lot of work to write and create something like this. But yeah, it's a good, solid sweater, and it is very beautiful, pretty color work. It really stands out. I got a million compliments on it. Everybody loved it. And if you're gonna make it, you know, I highly recommend it. And I liked the yarn that I used. It was very, I don't know, it gives a lot of body and definition to the stitches. And it actually like but it blends really well on the body itself. So the color work feels very clean, but the body isn't like, you know, stitch, 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 stitch. It's very just like uniform, and I mean, maybe that's my gauge, not the yarn, but I liked it. I would recommend it. I'm exhausted and I'm gonna go have coffee now. Bye!